Hello, this is LSA Gatto, and I'm going to go over the Milestone XProtect Smart Client. And in this video, we're going to discuss the live controls for your live camera views. And I will follow it up with playback and search features in other videos. All right, for now, we're going to discuss the left panel. This panel can be minimized and maximized by clicking on this control here. And this pane will show your views and your cameras. In the views drop-down, you'll have the search bar where you can search for views and cameras. Then it'll display a group folder followed by your camera views. So in this case, under VA Police drop-down arrows, then Police, you have all the views that we had in the Prism client. In order to display these in this area here, you simply click it once and it'll change the view. There's no need to double click it, and there's no need to drag it from this position to this position. If I place a camera or view in this block here, it'll search and then it'll display all the views that camera is located in, or it'll allow you to utilize a single camera. This is the camera drop down. Simply make sure that this arrow here is opened, and then as you can see, all the buildings have their own folders just like in the Prism client. Then you'll open up the drop down and select the camera that you want. It doesn't allow you to double click it to any particular pane, so you'll have to drag and drop it to the pane that you want to view it in. If you right click on the camera, you can send the camera to its own window or somewhere within the view that you have. Is just a mini version of point and click as opposed to dragging it to where you want it to go. Okay, each individual camera has its own controls as well. In this bar here at the bottom, which you can minimize by clicking on this arrow here, and then opening it again by clicking it again. This is a PTZ camera, which means it's movable by on-screen controls. As opposed to a diamond that we had in Prism, we have a crosshair. And in this case, we're not going to be clicking and dragging this crosshair, but we are going to choose a direction that we are going to move the camera, hold down the mouse button, and then drag away from the center of the crosshair to move it. The further away from center that you get while still holding the mouse will move the camera faster, and the closer to center that you have the mouse will move it slower. You can also click in the screen to move it, and you have movement controls over here on your bottom left. These are measured increments if you click on them. And it will move an equal amount each time. You can also hold down the arrow and it'll circle around. And then if the camera has a home point of view, you can click that and move it to the home. These cameras do not have a zoom slider that used to be located on the right-hand side with the Prism. You'll have to utilize either the plus or minus to zoom in and out. However, you can't control the speed at which you zoom in and out. Or you can do it in measured increments utilizing the mouse wheel. To maximize the camera to view as the whole screen, again, you just double click inside the title and it'll maximize the view. Double clicking it again returns it to normal view. Now, if you want to move this camera from one pane to another, you simply move the mouse into the title, hold down the mouse button, and as you can see, you can drag it to another pane. Now, for Prism, it will not replace the camera. In Milestone, it will move and swap places with the camera views. It will not replace it. All right, the controls down in here we'll go over is moving the camera to the search window, which is under this tab here, search, but it will be everything involving this camera only. The independent playback, clicking that will bring up the timeline and place the camera into a paused view where you can now play back previous footage utilizing the timeline. You can also utilize these controls here to do a playback and a play forward. To remove the timeline and move this camera back to live view, simply click the same icon again. The bookmark will allow you to bookmark the last known motion events of the camera. We'll go into more detail with bookmarks when we go over the playback and search options. This icon here allows you to snap a screenshot of whatever's displayed on the screen at the time, and it will automatically save it to a folder on your desktop once it's set up. The send to printer, unfortunately, because VMS computers are not hooked up to a network that has our printers on it, you will not be able to utilize the send to printer. But what this would do, if it did, was send a screenshot immediately to the printer. This option here allows you to capture a screenshot and save it to your clipboard to be later saved or pasted onto a Word document or into a PDF. This icon here allows you to start recording manually. So if I were to click this button, it would start recording now. And it will make a clip that's immediately exportable to the desktop once it's done recording. Under the More drop-down, you'll have some more options. The most useful of this is either to send this camera again to another floating window or a pop-out, or to change this camera to a digital zoom. If this camera is not in digital zoom, it'll be in PTZ mode. To change it to digital zoom, I select that, and now I cannot move the camera, but I can do a zoom by drawing a block. And it can keep getting closer every time you draw another angle. And then simply mouse wheel out to return it to basic view. In this mode, this minus and plus sign is also only a digital zoom, not an optical zoom. To return to PTZ control, just unselect your digital zoom. To reload this view, if any cameras disappear or go away or freeze up, you can refresh the view by clicking on this button here. And that concludes the demonstration for live view.